Hello everyone and welcome back to CarWale. I'm Bilal and this is the all-new Tata Punch EV. We are in Bangalore right now and it's close to 7 a.m. and we have the car for the rest of the day. So in this video, we'll be telling you 5 good things and 2 not so good things about the Punch EV. But that's not all. We'll also be keeping a closer look at the MID for the real-world range of the Punch EV and we'll be keeping you posted throughout the course of this video. So let's begin. So we did some static shoot right in the hotel and now we have got going. So at 100% when I checked the MID, it was showing me between 350 to 370 kilometers of remaining range, but there's a catch. So when you roll through the drive modes, which there are 3 here, the usual, the Eco, Normal and Sport, the range changes. And then there are 3 region modes as well, which can be controlled through these paddle shifters. And again, there are 4 region settings. There's 0, 1, 2 and 3. So when you change through the drive modes or through the region modes, the displayed range changes. Let's see how the rest of the day goes. So here's an update. We have now driven close to 25 kilometers from our hotel. Well, the initial plan was to head on to Nandi Hills, some 50 kilometers from the hotel, but it's a Sunday, so it's a complete no-no. But now we are here and the battery percentage is down to 87% and the displayed range is around 300 kilometers. Now let's get down to the good things about the Punch EV now, shall we? So the first good thing about the Punch EV is its underpinnings. Now, unlike the Nexon EV, the Punch EV is based on an all-new platform. It's a ground-up EV based on a new platform that Tata likes to call Active. And this Active platform will be underpinning all the new EVs that Tata is planning to launch in the next few years, which includes the Harrier EV as well as the much anticipated Sierra EV. Now this Active architecture, it is scalable and it also has provision for all-wheel drive system. Now the Punch EV, it benefits from this Active architecture in 3 ways. So first, the rear seat passenger, they get a flat floor. Now the charging plug, it has moved to the nose, and the front bonnet, it also gets a frunk now. Now the next good thing about the Punch EV is its design. Now when the Punch came out a few years ago, I was a huge fan of its proportions. Now when you move to this Punch EV, it takes inspiration from the Nexon EV facelift that we saw last year. So you get the new family design that was also seen on the Harrier and the Safari. You get a sleek LED bar running across the face, the Tata logo in the center, which now hides a charging port. Below that you have vertical slats and the headlamps are moved to the sides into this triangular design. It's a very polarizing design for some, because some might say that it looks like a scaled down Nexon EV, but I like the way the Punch looks. Now over to the side you get these 16-inch alloy wheels which are aerodynamic friendly as well, since this is an EV. You also get an EV badge on the side, and then you move to the back. Now the changes at the back is minimalistic, like you won't be able to differentiate between a standard Punch and a Punch EV unless you look at the badge or you see the missing tailpipe. So after finishing our static shoot, we headed out and found ourselves on the highway. So we decided, let's do some action shots, and we drove close to 70 kilometers. We added 70 kilometers. So now since morning we have done around 90 kilometers and the battery has come down to 53%. Now the next good thing about the Punch EV is the way it drives. So the electric powertrain, as you'd expect, is smooth, it feels refined, and in day-to-day commutes, it's hassle-free. It's very refined, very responsive. There's little to no vibration. There are some vibration that I will talk about in some minutes, but yeah, there's little to no vibrations, and everything else about the car is so much smooth and comfortable. Now eco mode, you do feel that the way the power is put down is slightly restricted, but then you switch to city, and if I own this car, I would be driving it all day in the city mode. But then you switch to sport, and then you get that unleashed feeling, and there's quicker acceleration, the sharp The throttle is sharper, and when you're carrying a steady speed and then you stomp the throttle, the car manages to pick up speed quite nicely. It's an EV, so it gathers speed smoothly, easily, and quickly. Tata says the 0 to 100 km per hour time is under 10 seconds, around 9.5. We will be testing it on our V-Box when we get the car back home, so stay tuned for that figures as well. Now, as for the ride quality, this is a Tata and it is exactly what you would expect of it. It's very comfortable, very absorbent, very planned, manages to absorb everything we went over. With its 190 mm of ground clearance, it can take the beaten part quite nicely, especially with this new platform. And it's a Tata, so it's made to take on bad roads, which our country is full of. Now, as for the ergonomics, the floor is slightly high. As you can see in this frame, my leg is much higher than I would like it to be. Because the floor is high, there's less amount of space between the seat and the floor. This driving position might be awkward for very tall passengers. Now it's almost 1, so it's time for lunch. So let's find some place and grab a bite, so we can also park the car and see if the range and the battery percentage regularizes. So, lunch done. Now we have to head back to the hotel to hand over the car. But there are a few things we still have got to talk about. So, the hotel is around 20 kilometers from here. We'll reach there and talk more about the stats. So we are back to where we started in the morning, and it's almost 2 and there are still a few good things to talk about the Punch EV. So let's get down to it. Now the next good thing about the Punch EV is the feature list on offer. Now we have seen it with the Nexon EV as well, and Tata has done it again with the Punch EV. The Punch EV is very feature loaded, right from the base variant as well. You get a lot of features as standard, and as you move up the ladder, or as Tata likes to call it, personas, you get so many features that some of the features that are seen here are not even offered in cars 2 or 3 segments above it. Now we are sitting here in the range-topping most expensive variant, and you get a lot of things to talk about. So starting off, you get the 10.25-inch touchscreen, which was seen in the Nexon EV. The touch response is good. It still gets the arcade EV, which again I think is a revolution in EV. When you move down to the center console and compare to the standard Punch EV, you get a new HVAC controls. This is what they call it phygital, where you have so many buttons but not physical ones. The diamond knurling gear lever from the Nexon EV has made its way here. It looks premium, feels nice, and the knurls and the chrome, it feels nice to hold and operate. Now continuing that, the seats you see here, it's taken from the Nexon. It's slightly changed from the standard Punch, and it feels nice and comfortable. And then you have the new steering wheel, which is again taken from the Nexon EV, and it feels nice to hold, has a illuminated Tata logo in between. The buttons here, they have nice touch to it. Behind them you have paddle shifters controlling the regen modes, and behind the steering wheel is an all digital driver's display. You get good amount of information there, but again the battery percentage, it's so small and hidden so below into the corner. I wish this is an EV. I wish that battery percentage would have had a prominent place. You do get a prominent place for range display, and again the regen modes again pushed down into the corner. So again, the space utilization could have been better for the MID, but otherwise I'm not complaining. Now we are in the second row of the Punch EV, and there are a few niggles. You don't get a dedicated cup holder, you don't get air vents at the back, and the space is not exactly generous. The seat is set to my position and I barely have some leg room, but you do get enough headroom thanks to this scoop. You get adjustable headrest for 2 passengers, and all 3 passengers get a 3-point seat belt. So it's good on safety. You can spend good time over here, but again, the second row of the Punch EV is not the place to be. Tata Punch is already a 5-star rated, and this Punch EV is also ready to take on the stringent testing standards, says Tata. We could expect a Bharat NCAP testing, but Tata hasn't specified a timeline for it. Once that happens, we would also get a proper assessment of the active architecture and all the cars to be based on it. Apart from that, in terms of the safety features, you do get 6 airbags here along with ESP and ISOFIX as standard right from the base variant. And as you move on to the more expensive variants, you get a 360-degree camera, blind spot monitor, hill hold control, all 4 disc brakes and electronic parking brakes as well. Both the batteries and motors are also IP67 rated. Now let's talk about a couple of not so good things about the Punch EV. Now what we have here is the range-topping most expensive trim, which goes almost 16.5 lakh rupees on the road Mumbai. Now at this price, a buyer could get themselves a well-decked up C-SUV. Now the question remains, why would a buyer spend so much money on a small EV rather than getting a big SUV, which we all in India are obsessed with? Now the EV adoption, it will take some time. It will take some time for them to realize what a small EV is capable of. But until then, it's a big challenge for the Punch EV. And the next not so good thing about the Punch EV is that it's still a little rough around the edges. Now I know a lot of research and engineering has gone into it, but still, as a final product, I found many glitches that the Tatas are infamously known for. For example, the seat I was in, it was loose in its place. And then there's leatherette seat upholstery on it, but those upholstery are not fit so perfectly. It looks a bit shabby. And then if you look closely, there are uneven panel gaps here and there. And then there are those usual glitches. This car, it's still showing an ongoing call on the MID when there's no call going on at all. It's hung there. The Punch EV then is exactly what we expected it to be. It is smooth and easy to drive, have loads and loads of features. It's not a bad looking car either. And then it's the entire ecosystem that a Tata EV brings with it. It's not without flaws either and might still have some niggles here and there. But as a first time EV, the Punch is a great choice nonetheless. And finally, it's time to hand over the Punch EV back to Tata. Now after an eventful day, we have depleted 60% of the battery, so the remaining is almost 40%, and we have driven almost 150 kilometers in the entire day. Now the range, it's still showing me 100 kilometers, but I assure you this is not the real world range of the Punch EV. It's because we drove quite enthusiastically to test the car and to get the shoot done. So when we get the car back home, we will be doing a proper range test where we drive the car from 100% to 0% and will let you know the real world range of the Punch EV. Hope you liked this video, or at least like the format of this video we followed with the Punch EV. And if you did, do write your opinion in the comment section below. Also, if you have any other questions regarding the Punch EV, write them down and I promise we will answer them all. And do like the video, subscribe to the CarWale YouTube channel, and that's all from this video. I'll see you again. This is Bilal signing off. Until next time.